This is a video all about my trip to Bangkok and Hong Kong. Bit of planes, bit of trains, bit of trams. If that's of interest, let's go.
Traveling the world on planes, trains, trams, and more. Join Mark Hopwood as he shows you some of the great journeys he's made. Let's travel to a whole variety of destinations. Remember to drop your comment below. Like and subscribe, turn on the notification button, and never miss a video.
Hello from the Heathrow Express train. So this is London Heathrow Terminal for the premier check-in area for Qatar. I was lucky enough to be flying in business class with my status, so I headed through security and up this walkway to their lounge, which is very nice at London Heathrow. A few minutes there. It's based on Qatari culture and design. Checking the departure screens for my flight, the QR4. Oh, that's an old liveried 777. Welcome aboard this Qatar Airways Airbus A380. So this trip took me in a Qatar Airways A380, London Heathrow to Doha, 2 hours in Doha, and then the same aircraft from Doha to Bangkok, first class with Qatar, overnight in Bangkok to Hong Kong, overnight in Hong Kong, back to Milan, back to London.
Thank you for choosing the Grace Airline. Exits and walkways must be clear at all times. Get your stuff out the aisle.
It's a new trend to have interesting safety videos, but soon we were pushing back, taking off and away. Emblem of Doha Hamad International Airport behind me. So welcome to Doha. I only had 2 hours in Hamad International Airport in Doha, but it was long enough to visit the Al Safwa Lounge, which is legendary. It's one of the most amazing airport lounges in the world. And, you know, it's a statement by Qatar Airways, a statement by Qatar about its intentions. Just look at this place, stone and marble, incredible. But soon time to get on my aircraft, and soon I was in Thailand staring at a Siemens Class 360 EMU built in Germany and used on their airport services, exactly the same as the ones we used on Heathrow Connect out of Paddington that have sadly now been scrapped. These have got a stronger survival instinct and they're used on the service from Bangkok Airport into the city centre that operates every few minutes. Red ones and blue ones, and that is the Bangkok SkyTrain that operates, not surprisingly, above ground on elevated railways through the town centre, the city centre. It's made an enormous difference in reducing traffic congestion in the city, which is much improved, and it was great for me to have the chance to travel round and look, but even do a tuk-tuk ride as well late at night in a thunderstorm back to my hotel. Hello to everyone on LinkedIn. This is a video all about my trip to Bangkok and Hong Kong. Bit of planes, bit of trains, bit of trams, if that's of interest. I was flying the Emirates Airbus 380, this one in AC Milan colours, first class, on a ticket that I'd found online for just over £400, a real bargain when I couldn't possibly afford the real first class fares. But we were up and away, out of Bangkok. Oh look, this plane even had a shower. What an amazing feature. But soon we were at Hong Kong, out of the airport on the Airport Express, heading on this railway that was built in 1998 to link the new airport to the city. A great experience, a great product. Welcome to Hong Kong. It's a Sunday evening here. I'm on Kowloon side looking across the harbour to Hong Kong Island. With less than 32 hours in Hong Kong, I wanted to make the most of it and ride on the bits of the MTR railway that have opened since my last visit. This is the Tuen Ma line that combines two former sections of railway. It's now the longest line in Hong Kong, and I had not been out on the new section in the middle or out to Ma Shan, so I decided to get that done during this visit and I hopped on board. So this is Wu Kai Sha at the end of the line, at the end of the Tuen Ma line. You can see that route map behind me, quite extensive. It has to sort of be looped round on the sign, and also behind me large blocks of residential housing. You know, that's the reality for a lot of people here in Hong Kong, pretty much everybody here in Hong Kong. And the MTR has expanded in recent times out to places like this, which has been a great boom for those areas. So this was a bit of track that I had never actually done right out to the end of the line. So I'm pleased to have done that. I'm going to head back towards the Railway Museum now. So I retraced my steps back up the line and then transferred to the East Rail service, which is the traditional main line in Hong Kong on the Kowloon Peninsula. It opened in 1910 to link Kowloon and the Chinese city of Canton, and it was called the Kowloon Canton Railway, KCR, which it traded as for many years until it was merged with the MTR. So here I am, the Hong Kong Railway Museum, the old station of Tai Po Market. You can see there, sadly that is under overhaul and is covered in tarpaulin, but interesting to see the rest of the site nonetheless, with some diesel engines that's recently arrived at the museum. That's an older exhibit. Some of the station buildings, semaphore signals, inside some of the passenger carriages used in the last century on loco haul trains between Kowloon and Canton. But soon I was heading back into the city on the KCR line, now called East Rail, heading down towards Hong Kong and then onto the island of Hong Kong on the new extension to look at the tram network. And the trams on Hong Kong Island are fantastic, double-deck trams operating, you know, like they would have in old British city, but sadly very few double-deck trams left in Britain, only in the museums. But Hong Kong has them by the bucket load, operating on Hong Kong Island along the main line, and they loop via Happy Valley Racecourse, and it was the Happy Valley loop that I finished my journey on the trams, and it's fantastic to see them. There's a museum tram that operates an open top service as a city tour as well. I didn't ride on that, but did get the chance to see it and film it and watch those trams operating very intense services, operating about every 2 minutes. And then to the Peak tram, which is really a funicular railway, and I queued and eventually joined the Peak tram and headed up to the Peak on Hong Kong Island. It was a great day for weather, clear blue skies, a fantastic opportunity to get to the top. Well, if you enjoy your transport, your trains, your trams, urban transit, Hong Kong is a great place to come. I'm at the top of the Peak. I've come up on the Peak tram, but I've spent the day riding round the MTR, the trams, having a look at the bus network. But I'm stood in front of one of the 4th generation Peak tram vehicles that was used from 1957 to 1989. Much smaller, shorter vehicle. From the Peak tram to another icon of Hong Kong transportation, the Star Ferry, which has been crossing Victoria Harbour for many years. These ferries were built in the 1950s. They're still going, despite the presence now of the MTR across the harbour on 2 different routes. The Star Ferry is still a popular option, and I sampled it as the sun set over Victoria Harbour across Hong Kong and enjoyed a delightful journey from Central to Tsim Sha Tsui, passing another specially painted Star Ferry. It was a great journey at a great time of night in great weather conditions, thoroughly enjoyable. My visit to Hong Kong coming to an end, but I enjoyed passing another Star Ferry in the conventional colour scheme, looking at the buildings, the illumination, and reflecting on those great views. But soon I was back on Kowloon side, Kowloon station, heading to the airport to make my way to check in for my Cathay Pacific flight to Milan. Not home yet, heading on a 13-hour flight in Cathay Pacific's 777 to Milan Malpensa, where I landed. There's the aircraft early in the morning after I disembarked, and I headed out on the Malpensa Express to central Milan. Well, welcome on board the Malpensa Express. Now I know what you're thinking, Mark, you've done that long trip, you've been to Hong Kong, you've flown back, what on earth are you doing in Milan? Well, I'd found this flight as an Avios redemption, so I'd paid for it on air miles, I hadn't had to pay much cash, and it was better than coming back the same way that I had gone out. And it gave me the opportunity to very quickly look at Milan. I actually got British Airways to move me to a later flight. There's Milan Central Station. Look at that. It's an incredible building, very grand, very opulent. It's a fantastic design. And that's inside the station with the intercity trains heading to all corners of Italy, and the competition from the open access operator as well as Train Italia. But that's what I really wanted to see, the Peter Witt trams from the 1930s. Peter Witt, the commissioner of the Cleveland Transit Authority, who designed the trams in the US and then exported the design. Milan took hundreds and hundreds of these and still has over 100 in its fleet. They're just an all-time classic streetcar. They're just an amazing vehicle to travel in. I love these vehicles. I love the fact they're still using them in regular traffic. They're dirty, they're scruffy, they're not, preserved, they're not running as museum pieces. They're in day-to-day traffic, carrying normal customers in Milan and a few enthusiasts like me. Look at those doors. It's just incredible to watch these running through the streets of Milan. I really enjoyed this. I took a tram on line 5 and rode right to the end of the line. There's the terminus, and it was great to see the trams in action as well as to see them at the terminating point and have a quick look round when the driver had cleared off for his PNB. My trip to Milan was very brief, of course. It was really just a quick break between an airport transfer from Malpensa International Airport to Linate, closer to the city centre where my British Airways flight would depart. But there's the next tram. I waited for it to run round the loop. This tram 5 terminating point was only sort of 4 or 5 minutes from the door of Linate Airport, so I was able to call myself an Uber, but I watched some of the mainline intercity trains on the bridge above as my Uber arrived, and here it is to take me to Milan Linate Airport, which was my next port of call on this trip for a British Airways flight on that Airbus A321 that you can see. Now, this plane had only arrived in British Airways fleet a couple of days before. It entered service the previous night. It had flown to Copenhagen and back and then out to Milan, and I was travelling on its 4th ever flight in British Airways service, so that was just a supreme coincidence, but great to travel on a nearly new aircraft. So new, in fact, that BA hadn't even got round to fitting the aircraft with Wi-Fi, but it still had that new aircraft smell. And that flight to London Heathrow brought my trip to a conclusion. I hope you've enjoyed sharing this experience with me. I know it's not to everyone's taste, but hopefully gives you a feel for what I did in 4 and a bit days, to Doha, to Bangkok, to Hong Kong, to Milan and back to London. Hopefully you can join me on another trip soon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and click the notification button so you don't miss any of the great trips Mark has coming your way on this YouTube channel.